Welcome back, just Christina, and today I am going to review the Majestic 12 documentation that is supposedly a top secret declassified document from 1952. I'm invoking the rights of fair use to discuss this with you, and I'm only taking this document at face value. There's no further evidence beyond this. If you do any kind of Google searching whatsoever, it does garner the result as a conspiracy theory. There are books written about this. I have not read those books. I cannot discern whether or not they are conspiracy theory or more. However, I can say this does look like a top secret declassified Freedom of Information Act document. However, I do not know the origin of this particular nature of research other than the fact that it was in with my mom's documents. So, without further ado, let's get into Operation Majestic 12. This was a preliminary briefing for President-elect Eisenhower, prepared 18 November 1952 by Admiral Roscoe Hillenkoetter, and he was the first gentleman on the list of the Majestic 12, so he was MJ1. This document had been prepared as a preliminary briefing only, and it should be regarded as introductory to a full operations briefing intended to follow. Operation Majestic 12 is a top-secret research and development intelligence operation responsible directly and only to the President of the United States. Operations of the project are carried out under control of the Majestic 12 Group, which was established by a special classified executive order of President Truman on 24 September 1947 upon recommendation by Dr. Vannevar Bush and Secretary James Forrestal. However, Secretary Forrestal unfortunately passed away on 22nd May 1949, and on the 1st of August 1950, General Walter Smith was designated his permanent replacement. So here's the list of the Majestic 12. All right, on 24 June 1947, a civilian pilot flying over the Cascade Mountains in the state of Washington observed 9 flying disc-shaped aircraft traveling in formation at a high rate of speed. Although this was not the first known sighting of such objects, it was the first to gain widespread attention in the public media. Hundreds of reports of sightings of similar objects followed. Many of these came from highly credible military and civilian sources. These reports resulted in independent efforts by several different elements of the military to ascertain the nature and purpose of these objects in the interests of national defense. A number of witnesses were interviewed, and there were several unsuccessful attempts to utilize aircraft in efforts to pursue reported discs in flight. Public reaction bordered on near hysteria at times. In spite of these efforts, little of substance was learned about the objects until a local rancher reported that one had crashed in a remote region of New Mexico located approximately 75 miles northwest of Roswell Army Air Base, now Walker Field. On 7 July 1947, a secret operation was begun to assure recovery of the wreckage of this object for scientific study. During the course of this operation, aerial reconnaissance discovered that 4 small human-like beings had apparently ejected from the craft at some point before it exploded. These had fallen to Earth about 2 miles east of the wreckage site. All 4 were dead and badly decomposed due to the action by predators and exposure to the elements during the approximately 1-week time period which had elapsed before their discovery. A special scientific team took charge of removing these bodies for study. The wreckage of the craft was also removed to several different locations. Civilian and military witnesses in the area were debriefed, and news reporters were given the effective cover story that the object had been a misguided weather research balloon. Okay, I'm going to pause it here, and I'm going to do the second part of this in a new video. So I will talk to you soon.